little bit about memory mapping, and it hopefully will not be very confusing. It should be fairly short. And if you have some questions, if you log in interactively, I can possibly observe the questions online and answer them. But here we go. I'm going to switch to a different thing instead of viewing me. One moment while I get organized. I was expecting it would show me the stuff that was iconified as a choice, but it didn't. All right. Now I think we have, yes, a diagram showing how memory mapping works. Some of the operation occurs in the CPU, some of it is in memory. In the CPU, there is control register 3, which contains one memory address. And it points to the first of several tables in memory. And this one is named, because it's 4 levels deep, page map level 4, because it doesn't have any obvious good name. You can see page table is a nice name. Page directory table, okay, so it's got page directories. Page directory pointer table, that's a goofy one. But what are you going to say for the next one up? Well, it is a page of memory in size. And a page of memory, at least the small pages, are 4,096 bytes. And addresses in 64-bit mode are 8 bytes each. So one page can hold 512 addresses. So at page map level 4, there could be, I've shown one, but there could be as many as 512 page directory pointer tables in the computer. It's unlikely to be that many, but it's possible, right? And then what this contains is another set of 512 addresses. So for each one of these things, each one of these page directory pointer tables, there could be 512 page directory tables. So there could be 512 squared of these, and each of these is 1 page in size, so they could have 512 addresses. And that would mean that you could have 512 to the 3rd power page tables on the computer, and each of those could have 512 addresses in them. So the total number of pages could be 512 to the 4th power, which is way too many. We don't have enough memory on the computer. All right. So if we look over here on the right, we've got a diagram which illustrates one memory address. And the bits of a memory address go from 0 to 63. I've stacked them up vertically just to make a nice diagram. The bottom 12 bits of this address are the offset in this page that you finally reach. So if the bottom 12 bits are 0, you'll be getting the first byte, or the first word, a quad word, or whatever you're going to get. You'll get the first thing in this page of memory. And if the address, this portion of the address is all ones, you'll be getting the last byte of this page. Going further up, we see the next field of bits, 12 through 20, and that is how many bits? 20 minus 12 is 8, but you're including both ends, so it's 9 bits. Why 9 bits? Because we need to have an index for this table which has 512 addresses in it. So 512 is 2 to the 9th, so you need 9 bits to specify an index for this table. All right? Likewise, you need 9 bits to specify which page directory table. So if we go to the top, when you make a memory reference, if you look at it logically how it works, the computer uses CR3 to access this page of memory, page map level 4, and it uses these 9 bits from 39 to 47 as an index into this array of addresses, which yields one of these page directory pointer tables, and the next 9 bits lower, 30 through 38, are used as an index in this memory to get an address, which gives us a page directory table. The next 9 bits below that, 21 through 29, are an index into the page directory table. And once again, you get one of these page tables, and this 12 through 20 gives you an index in that, and then you get a page. So at worst, there could be a memory reference to get an index from this page or an address from this page, and then a memory reference to get an address from this next page, the page directory pointer table, that's 2, then 3, then 4, and then 5 to access the memory. That would be fairly slow. I think we discussed before that it might be 6 nanoseconds to access memory if it's not in cache. So if this were not in cache, then this could be 5 times 6, 45 nanoseconds, extremely slow. So hopefully some of it's in cache, but beyond that, there is another mechanism used in the CPU, which is a set of registers called the translation look-aside buffer. And what it amounts to is that as you make a reference with some logical address, it remembers which page it was on. So the translation look-aside buffer has a collection of virtual addresses and the physical page where those addresses are located. So it might store these bits, these 36 bits that define the page that is referenced, and the physical address, which would be another collection of bits, maybe 36 bits, which what happens is this is a special kind of memory that is content addressable. You send it with an address that you want, and if it's there, it responds extremely quickly, less than 1 clock cycle. If it's not there, then at the same time, the CPU is starting this process of going through these tables to find things. So if the page you've got down here has been referenced recently, most likely to be in the translation look-aside buffer, and there will be no delay for using that memory beyond accessing it probably from cache. If the page is not there, if it's nearby, then probably this page table is in cache, and the reference will take, it'll get one address from cache, and then it will make a regular memory reference, which might be 6 nanoseconds long. So we have CR3 points to the top level of these things, and then you got these goofy names. If you're going to be tested on this, I don't know anything to do except remember pages at the bottom and page table at the top, and then start where to put the others. If you're trying to figure out how it's laid out, a page is 4096 bytes, which is 2 to the 12th, so the offset is the lowest 12 bits of a logical or virtual address, and then the indexes in these tables have to be 9 bits because 4096 divided by 8 is 512. So you get 9 bits, 9 bits, 9 bits, 9 bits. Why didn't they do it one more time? Well, if you start looking at how much memory you could reference with a total of 48 bits, that turns out to be quite a bunch. All right. In general, if you think of 2 to the 10, that's approximately 1,000. So 2 to the 20th is about 1,000,000, 2 to the 30th, 1,000,000,000, and 2 to the 40th is 1,000,000,000,000, or basically a terabyte. So you get kilobytes, megabytes, gigabytes, and terabytes. About 256, and the way it's printed in my book, I think I mentioned that physically the computer could reference 262 megabytes of virtual address space. But logically, you're not going to have that, or excuse me, 262 terabytes. I'm not sure what I said. I think it was megabytes, but 262 terabytes, that's more than you're going to have in your PC. Now, terabyte of RAM is becoming entirely feasible for high-performance systems that have special motherboards now. So if you can get 1 terabyte now, it seems possible that in 5 or 10 years, you might be able to have a system that would have 262 terabytes of RAM in it. And they will probably have CPUs that will address all of that RAM. And at some point, they'll need to go beyond, and I guess they will go for one more extension of 9 more bits, giving us 512 times the 256 terabytes, which will be good enough for probably the rest of my life. But people used to think that 640K bytes was enough RAM. So who knows where we'll end up at. Another question is, how efficient is it to have only 9 bits for each one of these tables? You could keep it shorter by expanding the page size, but it breaks everything that's in use currently if you change it to something like, let's say, 16K. Instead of 4K, 16K, that would mean 2 more bits for each one of these. If you went with that, you could have 4 levels and be a total of 10 bits higher, which would be just about all of it. That would access a lot of RAM, keeping the levels higher. You get trade-offs. You get fragmentation internally of pages where it's some memory that's not used. When you allocate some memory, you have to allocate it in pages. If the pages are large, then you get wasted space in a page that you can't use. If the pages are smaller, you'll end up with more space used up in the page tables. And I don't know if we have anyone online that has questions for me. I don't see anybody. Oh, we got 4 viewers. Let's see if we've got any questions on the chat. No chat questions? And it's telling me the Q&A is disabled. So if there's anyone among the viewers that wants to ask some question, go for it. Let's see who's here. Well, the viewers aren't live. Okay, so don't have any other live people. As I said, the gosh, this thing says there's screen sharing and had a button for showing to everyone. I hope I was presenting to everyone. If not, I guess I'll do this again at some future date. not having anything in particular that I really had planned other than memory mapping, I'm going to leave it as a short lesson, and hopefully I'll get some questions from people, and we'll have some entertaining questions next time. Thank you. This was a short one. Bye.